This is me at an event I technically wasn't supposed to be at, and this is Nick Jonas standing about 10 feet away from me. 2 years ago, I set a goal for myself to eat waffles with the Jonas Brothers, and this is the story of my one final attempt to make that happen. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode. If you're confused, let me back up just a little bit. In the summer of 2023, I made a video where I ate nothing but Waffle House for a week straight. While filming that video, I tried to complete side quests, things like getting invited to the Waffle House headquarters, or attempting something called the All-Star Challenge. And earlier that year, the Jonas Brothers released a song called Waffle House, so I decided to make one of my side quests having Waffle House with a Jonas brother.
Well, when we were touring back in the day, we were too young to go to a bar after the show. Yeah. And the only thing open was Waffle House. So we would have a lot of our deep conversations and kind of the foundation of our relationship as family after those shows.
And if you don't know, that song goes like, Waffle House, and then it's like, Waffle House. Over time, it kind of morphed from Waffle House specifically with the Jonas Brothers to just waffles with them, or even just delivering a waffle to them. But to jump ahead a little bit, I got very, very close. But this story actually starts way before that. So let's rewind to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2006, featuring Miley Cyrus as Hannah Montana, the cast of High School Musical, minus Zach and Vanessa, the Jonas Brothers, and 13-year-old me watching from the corner of 57th and Broadway. Okay, maybe we don't need to go that far back, but this was the first time that I saw the Jonas Brothers in person. So let's fast forward to 2010 when a show called The Buried Life premiered on MTV. And I promise this does tie in. So if you're unfamiliar, the premise of the show is that these four guys had a list of 100 things to do before you die. And it was crazy stuff, like asking Taylor Swift out on a date or escaping from a deserted island. This was before this type of stuff was super common on YouTube, and in fact, a lot of the biggest YouTubers over the last 15 years have talked about drawing inspiration from The Buried Life. I got to see Ben and Duncan from The Buried Life on a speaking tour in the fall of 2011. Here's Duncan giving me a piggyback ride. And they talked about one of the items on their list that they didn't get to complete in the show, which was playing basketball with Obama. It was one that was just so absurd that 4 Canadian guys would get permission to play basketball with the President of the United States. Like, if they could do that, it would feel like anything is possible. And even though the episode ended with them being unable to make it happen, they ended their talk by playing a previously unreleased video of them getting to shoot around with Barack Obama on the White House basketball court. So for me, this isn't even really about the Jonas Brothers specifically. It's about doing something so unattainable that your past self wouldn't believe it. It's about going out there and using your free will to do something extraordinary, to do something you can't. All right, so to bring you up to speed from setting the goal of having waffles with the Jonas Brothers to present day, here's a quick recap of all my attempts so far. I started with all the basic steps, DMs to each of the Jonas Brothers, including Frankie, who, if you don't know, is the 4th Jonas brother who's not a part of the band, plus a DM to their manager. When that didn't get me anywhere, I bought a billboard between 2 of their tour stops because I thought they might see it on the way into town, and as it turns out, I think they have a private jet that they use to fly between shows, so no dice. At one point, Waffle House told me that they were trying to bring their food truck to a Jonas Brothers concert, and if they got the green light, they'd allow me to come work the truck.
We had a Waffle House truck come. It did. It did. We did a show and the Waffle House truck came.
But despite getting the green light from the Jonas Brothers, Waffle House kind of revoked their offer for me to tag along. They did tell me later that the guys were super into healthy eating, so it was mostly the band members who ate from the Waffle House truck, not the Jonas Brothers themselves. So after that, I made a video pitching the Jonas Brothers on filming a collab together at a concert I'd be at in Michigan later that year. I figured I'd make it more about the collab than the food, and I threw in an offer to bring coffee because I learned that Joe is super into coffee. I sent that video to a ton of different accounts who might be able to get it in front of the right people, and the closest I got to actually hearing back was a response from a member of their band who said, "I'll see if I can get any traction with the folks." But sadly, nothing ended up coming of that either. And then finally, the Jonas Brothers were announced as the musical guest at College Game Day at James Madison University, which is like an hour from where I live. I managed to get in touch with the vice president at JMU, and I somehow talked an executive at Disney into giving me a media pass, but I still came up short. Even though I was super close in proximity, I was still super far from being able to actually hand them a waffle, much less share one with them. I did, however, manage to hand a personalized note to their manager, explaining my goal and asking him to reach out if a collab might be a possibility before or after that Michigan show. Felt like kind of a big brain move on my part to have that prepared and ready to go. But sadly, the concert in Michigan came and went with no response from the Jonas Brothers or their management. That was in November of 2023. Was there more I could have done after that? for sure. But from the beginning, I knew I wanted to do this in a way that didn't cross the line. As a principal, I don't ever want to make someone's job harder than it already is, just so I can make a dumb YouTube video, and that includes security personnel. I feel like people thinking that they can or should be able to have access to celebrities has gotten pretty out of control. For a while there was a wave of content that was like, I made blank for Mr. Beast, and eventually Jimmy had to be like, guys, please stop. This other YouTuber named Phidias was trying to meet Elon Musk and asked his followers to spam Elon Musk's mom, and she actually got pretty upset about it, and I think rightfully so. Fan and stalker culture has just gotten like out of control in general, like that guy who rushed Ariana Grande on the red carpet just a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to make sure, one, this was something that the Jonas Brothers actually wanted to do, and two, it offered them value in some way. Like I wanted it to be worth their time, not just me selfishly thinking that I deserved their time or attention, if that makes sense. I get DMs and emails fairly often, and the ones that say things like, hey, if you ever want to make a video about the animals I work with, those tend to stick out a little bit more than the ones that are just like, you should hang out with me. The good news is that the Jonas Brothers do make videos with creators on a pretty regular basis, so it seems like something they might be down for. And in terms of adding value, when I first pitched them on this, my most recent video on Instagram had just hit 5 million views. So I know that's not crazy, but I felt like it gave me at least a little bit of capacity to say like, hey, I want to help you promote your song. Maybe get it in front of a few people who wouldn't have otherwise listened to it. A couple people asked me why I didn't just pay for a meet and greet at a concert or something, and I'm not sure if they do that, but even if they did, I didn't want this to be like a fan experience. You know, I wanted it to be more of a collaboration. Once again, I'm not doing this because I'm the biggest Jonas Brothers fan in the world.
Well, maybe the Jonas Brothers are in town.
No, they're in Raleigh-Durham that weekend.
Like, did I enjoy Camp Rock? For sure. Is Love Bug an absolute banger? 100%. But other than that, I'd describe my fandom as like pretty lukewarm. No offense. Their resurgence as a band and the release of the Waffle House song just kind of coincided with my Waffle House challenge, and this goal seemed equal parts unattainable and hilarious. Like, this was my playing basketball with Obama. So all that being said, I felt like I left the ball on their court. I did everything I could without crossing any boundaries, and I managed to get my request in front of the right people. And that was that. In my mind, it was over unless I heard something from them. And if I didn't, I was fully okay with chalking this quest up to a failure. That is until November 4th, 2025, more than 2 years after my initial Waffle House video, when I got a DM that would relight the fire of this quest. The event in question was the world premiere of the new Jonas Brothers Christmas movie in New York City, and the Jonas Brothers would be in attendance. This was sent to me by Trent Simonian, who's the guy behind Side Talk New York City.
How do you feel about the social and economic state of the world?
What even is that?
One word of wisdom for everyone watching right now.
One word.
It's Thanksgiving! Don't drop the turkey!
So many onions, it got me crying like I'm watching Toy Story 3.
Bing bong! Hey, yo!
A lot of sound bites that you've probably heard originated from this show. And for what it's worth, Trent got named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in 2024 because of Side Talk. And he happens to watch the studio review. So when he got invited to this premiere, he initially asked his girlfriend if she wanted to go. And apparently her response was, you should invite Sam Reid. So he did. And I knew if I wanted to make this happen, I'd need to be in peak physical condition, which includes not only eating right and staying active, but also making sure I'm not skipping checkups or putting off seeing a doctor when something feels off. And that's why I'm thankful to partner with ZocDoc, who's the sponsor of this episode. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. And ZocDoc isn't just for one type of care. They have more than 100,000 providers across nearly every specialty, from primary care to dental health, eye care to urgent care to mental health, and more. It's the one-stop shop for all your healthcare needs. No need to call doctors' offices and wait on hold either. ZocDoc lets you do everything online. With ZocDoc, you can filter for doctors by insurance, location, and specialties. And what I love is that you can actually read verified patient reviews, see their photos, and get a sense of what they're like before you even go, so you can choose the best, most convenient care for you. I actually just switched insurance providers fairly recently, and it can be stressful setting up new appointments if you don't know what's covered and what's not. But with ZocDoc, a quick search will tell you which doctors near you are in-network and which ones are out-of-network. Plus, ZocDoc helps you get appointments fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even score same-day appointments. So stop waiting and start getting the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/Sam Reid to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. And thanks again to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode. This was less than a week before the actual premiere, so I had to scramble to rearrange some stuff and make plans to get to New York. And the invitation mentioned the premiere of the movie itself, as well as a private after party. But we had no idea what the vibes of that party were going to be like. If it was going to be like a mingling type of party, we thought it just might be possible to ask one of the Jonas Brothers to share a waffle with me. I had a commitment for the 3 days leading up to the premiere, so the night before was the first time I really had a chance to form a plan. But unfortunately, I ended up spending that entire time editing the finale of my quest for the best wings in America. So So around midnight, with the video still not done, I decided to book a train ticket from Virginia to New York because I was way too tired to be driving. And I stayed up the rest of the night finishing the video and was really cutting it close to the point where I almost missed my train. But fortunately, I made it to the station with about 3 minutes to spare before departure. Meanwhile, in New York, the Jonas Brothers had already started doing press ahead of the premiere.
We cannot wait for people to see this. We have the premiere tonight, but it comes out Friday. We're like thrilled for people to see it. We can't wait for people to see this movie and watch it with their families around the holiday season. It's gonna be great. Kevin, your phone's ringing. I'm so sorry. Just let it buzz.
Plan A was to bring them an actual waffle from Waffle House. The only problem is that the closest Waffle House to New York City is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is like 2 hours away. So even if I was driving, that thing would be pretty soggy by the time I got it to them. And you know what they say about that. Plus, no guarantee that I could get something that big through security. So plan B was gonna be home-cooked mini waffles. I'd picked up this little waffle maker earlier in the week, and I threw that along with a box of Just Add Water waffle mix, some Waffle House syrup, and some plastic baggies into an old Chipotle bag on my way out the door. I was thinking I'd have time to cook these ahead of time and maybe freeze them or something, but as you can probably tell, I was in a little bit of a rush. I had taken a break from editing the night before to go to Kroger and get Plan C, which was a bag of these individually packaged, non-frozen Belgian waffles. Not the most visually appealing, but the more I thought about it, seeing something opened from a package might actually be reassuring. Like pulling something out of a Ziploc bag is pretty sketchy. And I'm not a crazy person with bad intentions, but they don't know that. So I had those on the train with me in the bag with the waffle mix. And then if all else failed, like if my waffles got confiscated by security, plan D would just be to make a video with them where we like lip sync to the song Waffle House or something like that, which is still kind of Waffle House with the Jonas Brothers. I don't know. I finally arrived in New York, and even though it was a little bit rainy, it still felt like something out of a Christmas movie, where this seemed like one of the first days where they were really starting to put up Christmas decorations around the city. I checked into my hotel and started some last minute prep before the premiere. They told us we'd be able to pick up our tickets at the red carpet between 4:30 and 5 p.m. So my plan was to meet Trent there right at the tail end of that window. The packaged waffles still felt pretty big to me, so plan C.5 was to bring one of those packaged Stroop waffles, which are technically still waffles, but much, much thinner. I was just imagining security like patting me down and finding the Belgian waffles immediately. If I'd managed my time better, those Stroop waffles would have been super easy to find, like one of those energy waffles or the kind they hand out on airplanes. But because I was in such a rush to catch my train that morning, I just had to see what I could find near my hotel. My first stop was a Whole Foods because they said that they had something similar, but they were completely sold out. So I stopped at CVS because I thought I saw a packaged Stroop waffle on their website, and also because I needed a razor, but no luck there either. At this point, I was running pretty short on time, so I made my way back to the hotel and started trying to make some homemade waffles using the in-room coffee cups and coffee stirrers. I thought I was off to a surprisingly good start, but I very quickly started to worry about setting off the smoke alarm in my room. And as you might imagine, these waffles did not turn out well. I tried a second round, but they were equally disastrous, and at this point I was now running pretty late. So I took a super fast shower, shaved, and then threw on the clothes that I had shoved into my suitcase on the way out the door. The dress code for the premiere was holiday chic. No one really knows what that means, but it gets the people going. I loaded up my pockets with 4 different waffles because in my mind that was one for me and one for each of the Jonas Brothers, like best case scenario. I pressed publish on the Wings finale video, and from there I took off for the red carpet at a slight jog. Alright, so here's the deal. My ETA right now is 4:59. Entrance to the red carpet closes at 5. If I want to get there in time for that, I need to book it. We'll see what happens. The subway technically could have been faster, but after walking to the station, waiting for the train, and then walking from the station to the theater, it would have actually taken me more time. In the immortal words of Uncle Rico, I do better on foot anyway. I'm not technically allowed on the red carpet because I'm a +1, but I think I can go, like, see it, be on the other side of the barriers. We'll find out. Even though we still had the premiere and the after party, I figured that the red carpet could be one of my best opportunities to pitch them on having a waffle with me. Because if I could get onto the red carpet, there's a chance I could just walk right up to them. And if not, maybe I'd get a chance to talk to them across the barricade. Because that part's like literally designed for them to have quick interactions with the media. Which could be me, like I'm the media, right? I don't know when else in my life I would say this, but I kind of want to get pickpocketed right now because some guy's going to reach in there hoping he gets a wallet. Come up with a bunch of waffles instead. I got to the entrance to the red carpet, which was actually inside. I don't know how often that happens, but in my imagination, red carpets are always outdoors, like right outside the theater. But I met up with Trent, and this was the first big test. Could I make it through security with the waffles? Okay, kind of a good news, bad news situation. So, good news, I made it through one round of security with my waffles. No issues. The bad news is the red carpet is technically only for talent, and I'm a +1, so not allowed on the red carpet. I thought there was a chance that I might get my first Getty Images. So not only did they double down on only allowing talent, aka Trent, on the red carpet, but they also said I wouldn't be able to accompany Trent, like even on the spectator side. There was just this big black curtain, and it was dividing the security area from the red carpet itself, so I couldn't even see the red carpet. We've got a little bit until the doors open to the theater, so I might just kind of linger around here, see if the fellas show up, say what's up, give them a waffle. I've also got a little bit of time, so I might try to go get some backup waffles, because if my waffles get confiscated, it would be good to have some extras like tucked in my shoe or something. If they end up eating the shoe waffles, I apologize in advance. I did end up deciding to use that time between the red carpet and the start of the movie to go and get those backup waffles, because there was no telling when the Jonas Brothers would actually show up, or whether they would even use this entrance. And even if they did, trying to stop them on their way into the building didn't seem like the best move. Plus, it was super cold outside. So I finally found some backup waffles at a Duane Reade right beside Rockefeller Center. No relation to Dwayne, by the way. Also, just a little pro strat for you. If you're ever in Midtown and need a free bathroom, the bathrooms on the basement level of Rockefeller Center are super clean. And while I was making a quick donation to that bathroom, the Jonas Brothers were making their appearance on the red carpet.
We are going to go watch ourselves play ourselves tonight. Wish us luck.
From videos, it looks like they did in fact use a different entrance, so it's a good thing that I didn't stick around. I stowed my backup waffle and made my way to the theater for the premiere.
Okay, we in the snow. Okay, we in the snow. Hello, 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 hello.
I made it through security a second time with no issues, so I still had 100% of the waffles that I came with. Actually, 125% if you count my latest edition. And I didn't really know what to expect inside the theater, but it was fun to brush shoulders with a bunch of people I've seen on Instagram, like Micah and Sarah and Hallie Walker. My ticket said I was in row BB, so I assumed they did the whole alphabet and then started on double letters, so I'd probably be in like the 28th row or something. But nope, BB is literally the second row of the theater. And they didn't have anyone sitting in the front row, so it was just us and then the stage. I was sitting next to some girls who were from a reality show on Netflix, and I could have sworn they said it was Selling the City, but when I came home and looked it up, they were not in the cast. So I'm like, you were either in some very minor roles or you were lying to me. As it turns out, they were in Owning Manhattan, not Selling the City, and they were like the stars of that show, so my bad on that one. As we got closer to starting the movie, I saw Kevin's wife Danielle come in with their daughters, and then when it was time to start, a Disney exec came up and read from a teleprompter and then welcomed the Jonas Brothers onto the stage.
Please give a round of applause to Kevin, Joe, and Nick.
They didn't really know where to stand at first, but Nick got them straightened out eventually. And sitting front row for this was kind of wild, because they were saying their thank yous to everyone who made the movie happen and just kind of accidentally kept making eye contact with me. And so whenever that happened, I would just look right back at them and just mouth, "You're welcome," which I'm sure was more than a little bit confusing. But this is also pretty wild to me. This theater was just a couple blocks from where I saw them in the parade almost 19 years before this. Who would have thought? Not me. I posted a picture of them speaking to my Instagram story, and someone replied with this, which is hilarious to me, because it's like, you kind of hit the nail on the head. All right, so when it comes to sharing a waffle, let's talk about who we're working with here. First, we've got Nick. Nick is the youngest of these three. He likes cheese, but only on pizza, and homemade quesadillas. They all have a sense of humor in interviews, but Nick strikes me as the most serious of the three of them, so it was harder for me to imagine being able to pitch him on eating a waffle with me. But again, I don't actually know these guys, so who knows? Nick also has type 1 diabetes, so I legitimately didn't know if he would want to be offered 13 grams of sugar. Next up is Kevin, aka Paul Kevin Jonas II. Kevin is the oldest. He likes birdhouses, and he's kind of portrayed as like a lovable family man. He's been married to his wife Danielle since 2009, and they have 2 daughters together. So his personal life has just been like a little bit less juicy for the tabloids and the media. One of the golden rules of celebrity encounters in my mind is not interrupting someone when they're with their family, so since his wife and daughters were there, he didn't seem like the most likely candidate for me to share a waffle with. And finally, we've got Joe. He's Shane Gray, for crying out loud. And Joe is kind of chronically online.
Would you say you're the most online of the 3?
We would say that for him.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Which is actually the reason he's the most likely candidate to share a waffle with. Joe follows Trent's account Side Talk on Instagram, and it's clear that he's like super into that type of internet humor.
Bing bong! Bing bong!
Bing, bing, bong. Yes, this is going to be...
Trent has run into Joe a couple times, and they've exchanged a few DMs, and Trent told me that if the after party is like a mingling kind of party, he could most likely introduce me to Joe, and I could shoot my shot. So after the guys finished speaking, we watched the movie, which I found really enjoyable.
The plot of the movie is that we finish our tour over in Europe, and we cannot get home for Christmas because a sort of magical Christmas spell has been cast on us.
I was explaining to some friends later what the movie was about, and I mentioned that they can't get home for Christmas until they rediscover their brotherly bond. And one friend that was kind of half listening was like, wait, who is Lee Bond? I feel like there was a lot of self-deprecating or maybe just like self-aware humor.
At the premiere, there was multiple people that came up to me, and I know the difference. Let me do the scene. Dude, this movie's actually very fun. Like, it's very funny.
We heard the words.
Those were hilarious.
It's actually funny a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scene.
I also feel like the experience was enhanced by the fact that it was a theater full of people laughing together, which you can't really replicate on a streaming service, but you win some, you lose some. There were a bunch of fun cameos in the movie, like Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family, Randall Park from Marvel and The Office and a bunch of other stuff, and also Will Ferrell. Sadly, Will was not at the premiere, but his son was, who's also in the movie. After the movie ended, they had these charter buses waiting outside to take guests to the after party, which was at the Plaza Hotel. Trent had to run and meet up with someone real quick, but he told me that he'd meet me at the hotel in just a little bit. The Plaza is like 3 blocks from the theater, so I decided to just walk over, and that turned out to be a great decision. When I got to the entrance, Nick had just arrived and was signing autographs and taking pictures with fans behind the barrier, and I knew this wasn't going to be my shot, so I just walked around the barrier, past Nick, and showed my wristband to security, and walked inside. That felt like a crazy power move to me because, for all intents and purposes, I should just be like one of those fans waiting to take pictures behind the barrier. So I made it through one final security checkpoint with all of my waffles, and then I went up an elevator into the party. And once again, I don't know what I was expecting, but this place had everything. Pictures with Santa, a DJ, and a dance floor. That DJ turned out to be Kevin's brother-in-law. I found that out later. A full buffet line and an open bar. Easily one of the fanciest parties I've ever been to. And even though I did get the +1 from Trent, it just felt like I was not supposed to be there. But maybe the most important detail is that it was definitely a mingling kind of party. I noticed that there was a VIP section that was kind of separated from the rest of the room, but no one was using it. The buses of guests from the theater hadn't gotten there yet, so it wasn't crowded at all, and people were just like hanging out and talking. Like Chloe Bennett, who played the female lead in the movie, as well as Joe, and also Nick. I was trying to play it cool, but ended up sending this text to my wife. And even though I probably could have walked up and awkwardly tried to hand either of them a waffle, at this point I was laser focused on Trent's offer to introduce me to Joe, so I didn't want to blow my chance before he got there. I got some appetizers, and got in line to get a drink from the bar, and ended up just accidentally talking to Randall Park for like 5 minutes while we waited in line, which was wild. He told me that he flew from LA for the premiere, super nice guy. And after I made it through the line, I almost bumped into Frankie and was like, oh, what's up? And then he reached out to shake my hand, and so I shook it, and then I just kept walking. And looking back, I keep overanalyzing that interaction, like, wait, was he just being polite, or did he recognize me for some reason? Should I have stopped and asked if he wanted to have a waffle with me? I don't know. But as the crowds of people from the buses arrived, the room got more and more crowded, and Randall, Joe, and the rest of the cast kind of retreated to the VIP section. And it was right around that time that Trent pulled up. So we kind of found ourselves in a pickle, where he could probably introduce me to Joe, but Joe was kind of back in a corner where we couldn't get his attention. Kevin was a little bit closer, but again, he was with his family, so I didn't want to bother him. And the VIP area was now being guarded by several bodyguards, including this guy, and also Big Rob. You guys remember Big Rob from Burning Up? So that was kind of cool. So Trent and I just kind of hung out and tried to enjoy the party. We figured we'd linger somewhat close by in case Trent could get Joe's attention, or in case Joe ventured out of that area. And while we were hanging out, I got to see a bunch of other people I recognized, like Jack Lawless, who's the longtime drummer for both the Jonas Brothers and DNCE. He had to answer this hilarious question earlier that night on the red carpet.
I'm assuming you were involved in writing the music?
No, I'm the drummer, so they show me the music when it's done.
He was also at College Game Day a couple years earlier, and I definitely saw him checking out my sign, but I doubt he remembered me. I also got to talk to Micah and Sarah a little bit, and I also met Anthpo, who's behind some of the most viral stunts from the last few years, like the Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest. And Trent also introduced me to a creator named Chris Too Smooth, who has a series where he asks people how much their fit costs. In the past, he's made videos with LeBron, Wiz Khalifa, Cardi B, and none other than Nick Jonas. And he told us Nick was down to make another video with him that night. My initial reaction was like, oh, that's cool. I guess we'll just keep standing around and waiting for Joe. But not too long after that, Chris came back and was talking to Trent, and he told him that he had talked to Nick, and Nick was like, it's pretty loud in here, let's do it after when we can go somewhere a little quieter. And Trent had already filled Chris in on what I was trying to do with the waffles, so Chris was like, hey, when we go to film that video with Nick, you should just come along with us. And all of a sudden, we had an in. But it was getting to the point in the night where it was totally possible that the Jonas Brothers would just Irish goodbye, and we would have missed our opportunity with either Joe or Nick. We started seeing some movement in the VIP area where it looked like people were gathering their things, and Chris and his camera guy were like, all right, we're doing this. come on. So we followed them out of that main ballroom, past Santa, where Chris met up with Nick, and we followed everyone into this back hallway. As we were going through that last doorway, the security guard went to stop us, but Chris was like, oh, they're with us. So me and Trent got to go through as well, and we all filed into this stairwell. And Chris started filming his video with Nick while me and Trent waited our turn. We had talked previously about what we'd say, because it's like, how do you pitch someone on eating a waffle with you in like 5 to 10 seconds? And there was still a very strong chance that he would say no and that he just needed to leave. And I was pretty sleep deprived, but Trent actually had the perfect introduction. One of Trent's videos had blown up way back in 2021, where Nems was interviewing people on Coney Island and kept referring to Joe Biden as Joe Byron.
What do you want to tell Joe Biden right now? What's up, baby?
And a ton of people started using the audio.
Bing bong. What do you want to tell Joe Biden right now? What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner. Hey, yep.
And the Jonas Brothers actually made a video with Joe Biden using that audio.
What do you want to tell Joe Biden right now? What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
We got it.
So you'll have to excuse the bad audio on my end, but I just stuck my phone in my pocket to record whatever happened next.
That's so cool. So it's my friend Sam. He went on a journey. He's on a journey to eat Waffle House with you guys. He brought waffles.
We decided to pitch Nick on filming a short video of me and him cheersing our waffles and then taking a bite. And against all odds, Nick agreed.
Okay, you're the man.
And in that moment, I was so glad that I brought the packaged waffles, because I would have felt so sketchy pulling out Ziploc bags out of my pockets.
All right, hey, we're at the premiere of A Very Jonas Christmas, which was phenomenal, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it is my honor to share a waffle with the men behind Waffle House. Cheers.
Lovely.
Incredible.
Delicious.
That's about as far as I had thought through this conversation, because honestly I didn't think that I would get to this point. But thankfully, since Trent's whole thing is interviewing people on the street, he jumped into go mode and asked Nick to rate the waffle.
1 out of 10, what is that waffle? Supermarket waffle.
Like a 3-ish.
3
out of 10.
3. All right, that's generous. That's generous of you.
A little soggy.
No,
Thank you
ma'am.
for it.
Okay, yeah, dude, you guys are great. Appreciate it.
And like I said from the beginning, I wanted to respect his time, so we just thanked him and let him get out of there.
Honestly, when I made that goal, it felt kind of like a joke to me. And so the fact that I was able to just sit there and kind of share a waffle with Nick Jonas.
Saddest waffle of all time.
Yeah, it's been in my pocket for like the last 4 hours, so I honestly don't blame him. But hey, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Huge shout out to Chris Too Smooth, who basically made this whole thing happen. Chris also rated my fit for me.
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, 8.5.
And he was way too lenient with that rating, I'm gonna be honest. And then after that, Trent and I took a victory lap through the dance floor and the buffet line.
Big shout out to Trent for making this whole thing happen.
Shout out to Studio Review. Subscribe. Blank % of people watching this video aren't subscribed. Thank you.
It is pretty wild that I ended up sharing a waffle with the Jonas Brother, who I thought was least likely to say yes. But in a recent interview, Nick said that he hoped people would say that his door was always open and that he was generous with what he had. And I would say that was definitely the case for our short encounter. And because I still do want this to be valuable to them, you should go check out A Very Jonas Christmas Movie on Disney+. It's corny, but I mean, what Christmas movie isn't? And like I said, I really enjoyed it. And if I could leave you with anything, it would be to set crazy goals for yourself and go out and chase them. Because 3 years ago, I had 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and was doing this as a side hustle, and now it's my full-time job, and I'm getting to do crazy stuff like this because I just decided to go for it. So go play basketball with Obama, have waffles with the Jonas Brothers, but as best you can, try not to bother people or make anyone's job harder than it needs to be. And maybe most importantly, just remember that even when it doesn't feel like it, it's gonna be okay. I'll see you soon.